Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy New Year. This is the first live of 2024. And I don't know about you all, but it has been a busy year for me already. And as we see, StreamYard is already acting funny today. Let's see. Okay. Okay. I don't know why StreamYard likes to do that. Okay, now we are live in the group. And today we are talking about post-holiday spending. We're talking about, a lot of times we go through the holidays and we feel that guilt as a parent. Maybe you've been working a lot, maybe you've been doing a lot of hours, so you feel that guilt and you want to give your kids everything that they want, everything that they ask for, because you might feel guilty about being at work. I know me personally, I used to work at the post office, and I used to work, I'm going to say 60 hours a week, but it probably was more than that. I was working about 14 hours a day, and I was working at minimum 6 days. Sometimes I would work, like especially during the holiday season, I would work 8 days and then get one off day and then work 8 days straight. So if you work a lot in times like that and you have small children, sometimes you feel a little guilty. So you try to make up for that. And sometimes it can cause you to bust your budget. So today we will be joined by the money therapist, and she's going to come in and we're just going to talk about some of those things and those feelings and how they work, and talk about moving forward past that and going into 2024. I feel like this is a conversation that we need to have, and I feel like January is a perfect time to have it. This is Financial Wellness Month, so I always try to make sure I bring something relevant. So I always bring great people. So I'm going to bring her up, allow her to introduce herself, and then we're just going to go ahead and get into it, because I always want to be respectful of your time. So let me bring her into the show. Hello.
Hi. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I am good. I am here. I am so glad to be here with you tonight.
Happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year to you too.
Like, I can't believe that it's January 9th. Like, the end of last year, this year, everything went so freaking fast.
Right? It did. It really did. It went super fast. I can't believe it's 2024 either.
I mean, and technically it's mid-January.
Yeah.
Like, Monday is Martin Luther King Day. Like,
we're flying through it.
It's like not stopping for anybody.
No.
Man. So first I want to say thank you. Let me put the names up. First, I want to say thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your time with us. I really love what you do. And I always tell people, like, if you've worked on this and you followed the tips that I've given, and you've done them so many times and you failed, like, it's time to get help. It's time to bring somebody else in and take it a little deeper. You know what I mean? So I love that you can come here and talk about this, and we can get down into it. And I just think this is the perfect time, because it's right after the holidays. We know they did some damage.
Yeah. Yep.
We know they did. We know they did some damage.
Yes, this is when that guilt sets in.
Yes, yes. So go ahead, please feel free. Introduce yourself. Tell them what you do.
Yeah.
And you see her name. So a lot of you, if you're catching this on the replay, I know a lot of you like to watch on the replay. Just type replay in the chat. You see her tagline. Now, can you find you at that? Like, what different social media platforms can you find you with that tag?
You could find me with that tag on Instagram and actually on TikTok. I will admit I'm not as active on TikTok. I'm trying to get better at that.
For the
Uh,
same purpose.
yes. But you can definitely find me on Instagram with this handle.
Okay. So yes, please feel free. Introduce yourself and tell them what you do and how you help your people.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I am LaQuisha Clemens. I am a financial therapist. And you may be saying, well, what is a financial therapist? Because let me tell you, I hear it all the time. But what that really means is that I have some clinical, psychological foundation principles while also understanding the financial principles. And I just merge the two together. And you still may be saying to yourself, well, how does that work? And what does that mean? The long story short is that I help you understand really the mindset. You're really understanding your behavior and your emotions. And again, why you do some of the things you do, why you might be struggling with getting out of debt or paying off credit cards or keep doing the same patterns of behaviors you keep doing. So, I help people understand what that is, and then I also help you to change and fix that. So I am so happy to be here today so that I can tell you all about how we can get in the new year and start changing some of our behaviors. Oh, Nia, you're on mute.
We're gonna get right into it. I'm really happy for you to be here, but it might be just the money nerd in me because I just know how important, like, just that deep dive is. Like, we can tell you till you are blue in the face. I can literally write it on your mirror, every mirror in your house, the steps, and you still not be able to get it, or you get it, but then you do more damage than you correct.
Mhm.
So it is just really important to have that um, lens, microscope. I mean, however you want to call it. So, holiday spending. Let's talk about it.
Yes.
Typically, what I tend to see a lot of times is they run, like, you'll run up your credit cards,
Mhm.
and maybe you spent all year paying these cards off. You've been working overtime. Maybe you picked up a side hustle, and
Yep.
then you pay these cards down all year, and then it gets to the end of the year, and now you run those cards right back up.
Mhm.
Do you typically see the same thing?
I see the same thing. What I see what happens around the holiday time is a lot of anxiety and a lot of anxiety because, and for those of you who don't know what anxiety means, it just means a lot of worries. And a lot of that is because people are like, okay, how am I going to get this gift for that person? How am I gonna make all these ends meet? Especially when you may be somebody who you're already kind of stretched thin with your money every month. And now here comes the holiday season, and you're like, okay, what's my next step? How do I make this end meet so I could get all the gifts that the kids want? And kids want all the newest and latest things, which are not cheap. Or you're like, how can maybe I want to splurge and get somebody else something real special, and I understand people wanting to do that, but then it leads to all this anxiety, all this worry, and then it leads to having that guilt here in January to being like, you know what, I should have done that differently. What should I have done? Because now I'm paying for it. I run up my credit card after all my hard work. Now I'm paying for it.
And it gets laid on because it gets to the point where you're pressured, and it's like, okay, the mailman needs a gift.
Mm-hmm.
Your children's teacher, where's their gift? Everybody wants you to tip a little bit more. You
Yep.
have more people out asking for money. You have more people out panhandling at the stores, specifically during the holiday. Then you have Giving Tuesday. Then you have all the extra toy drives. Like then you
Exactly.
have the coat drive. Like you know what I mean? It just
So
goes
much.
on and on consistent that you have to give so much. You have to be able to create that boundary.
Absolutely. And that's why I tell people, honestly, starting off this new year is you have to start by creating those boundaries. Create
Mhm.
them now so that way when December comes, like you feel more comfortable with saying no to certain things, feeling as though you are not obligated or feel as though you have to buy certain people things. Like, for example, in an office where maybe everyone wants to chip in and like buy your supervisor a gift. Why should you have to agree to that? Why should you have to be okay with chipping in $20 or whatever it is to this gift?
Then you got all the retirements. They typically
Oh,
happen at the end of the year too.
that's
So
a
you got
big one.
retirement parties, holiday gifts. Like it is
Yes.
just so much, and it gets to be the point where you're the only one working,
Mhm.
making the money. But when you get it, it's just like so many different hands out waiting for it, and it just begin. You have to figure out where your line is.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I tell people. You got to draw that line. And even for kids, for those who have young kids, sometimes what I have found, it's actually as kids get older, they appreciate more at the fact that they didn't get everything, because it's like a behavior. Once they're like always getting everything, they're expecting it all the time. So they become those adults who feel like they need to get what they want, and that's how it should be, and it's this way. But when you are not getting everything that you want, you learn how to be patient, and you learn how to build so that you can get the other things you may want. Maybe it takes over time. It doesn't have to happen in a certain year. Maybe it takes a year or two, or this is how you learn to save, right, for the things you may want.
And another thing too, I think it also digs a hole for you as
Mhm.
a parent. It digs a hole that gets
Big hole.
deeper and deeper as they get older. And now you have to compete with what you did last time. And now you created this bar.
Exactly.
And you can't go under that bar now because they're gonna be like, well, they see that as less than. They see that as beneath them
Exactly.
now because you created this standard, and for them, this is normal. And you feel like, oh well, I worked so hard to do this, but for them, they feel like, well, this is just how life is.
Exactly. And
This is life. This is no,
that
you worked hard to do this. This is my life.
exactly. That's exactly it.
2 year old.
Mhm. Mhm. That's exactly it. They're just like, "Yep, no, this is I'm expecting this."
Like, what do you mean worked hard? This is normal. This is not art. This is normal. You
But
know.
I do. But it's also that's why it's setting them up for the now, but also the future, and showing them, hard work, earning it, and also you're not going to get everything because that's also not reality, right?
It's not. It's so not. I so wish I could just get everything.
Oh, me too, right? I would, oh, have a whole lot.
But at the same time, though, if you get everything that you want, it's like it's almost like joy wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for pain. It's like
Mhm.
sunshine after the rain. It's almost like it's also teaching you that balance in life, and it's also teaching them their expectations going out into the world, because
Mhm.
realistically you're not always going to get that. Yes, it's not always going to be how you want it to be. I mean, we all wish, like I told, it's work. It's not called fiesta. It's
No.
not called party. It's called work. And this is something that you have to do, even though you don't want to do it, as we all, because that's just a part of the game. Nobody just hands it to you. So it's
No.
kind of like helping them build life skills and
Mhm.
life, it's like helping them build their character, honestly.
Absolutely. And this kind of leads into like part of my money story was
Share it,
getting
share it. We all ears.
oh yes. Well, at a young age, I got into a lot of credit card debt. I was in college. Well, actually, I got my first credit. I was still in high school. I turned 18 and I applied for a credit card that same week and got it. And
Wait, you
so,
just only one?
well, one at that time.
Okay,
When
right.
I was, when I was 18, that first week,
Maybe I was in them credit streets. Like what? So I could walk out?
let me tell
Give you
you,
no
as
money?
time went on and I was shopping because now I'm hanging out with friends and we in the mall and I'm shop the all everyone that was like, hey, sign up 20% off. I signed up. I had so many store cards, Macy's,
Every register,
all of them.
every register always used to do that. I mean, I feel like they do it now, but they don't do it as bad as they used to do it then. You couldn't go in a store without them trying to get you to get their card. Oh, we're giving 15% off special sale if you sign up for the
Yep.
card today.
And you want to know what's crazy thing? So in the college, in my undergrad, I worked at Macy's. And so part of Macy's to get their employee discount, you had to use your credit card. They made you get a credit card and you had to use the credit card to get the employee discount.
Are
Now,
you
also,
serious?
I
That's wow.
and also they had this like quota of how many times you had to like get in a year to like have somebody open up a credit card.
Oh yeah, I know they everybody had that. That's like working at the bank. They wanted you to open up so many accounts.
I was like, this is too much. But at the time, I'm like 20 years old, 18, 19. I didn't think nothing of it because again, and they at that time they had me working in the junior section. So they had me working in the clothes that I was wearing. So I remember
Mhm.
me and my coworker back then, like we were just racking up our
So I used to do that because
getting
I
our
used to work
Macy's
at Foot
check.
Locker. So if you go to Foot Locker, like if you're somebody who works there, Foot Locker has it's like used to have like a section in the back,
Mm-hmm.
and like some shoes come with like clearance or whatever like that, and we used to put them to the side. So I remember
Mm.
I used to do that. We would put them to the
Yep.
side. I know I'm getting this shoe when I get paid.
Yep.
I'm taking it out. I don't care that I ain't got the money to buy it yet. It's
I'm
coming
gonna get
out
it.
of the regular stock. You won't be able to come in the store and buy it because it's still on the side for me.
Yes, exactly. Yes, we used to do that. We used to do that all the time. We would put, oh my God, that was so bad. But again, I didn't understand money.
Check long before you get it.
I didn't understand none of that. I didn't understand credit cards.
That
I was
paycheck
just
didn't stand a chance, baby.
nothing. I was just living my young free life. I was like, all
Mhm.
right, it's going on a credit card. I'll pay, I'll pay it off over time. I'll pay the $20 a month or whatever. It's all right. But that quickly led to me getting into a whole lot of credit card debt.
Mhm.
Which I think I was up to when I finally was able to look about 6 years later. I think I was up to about like $35,000 in credit card debt because for a very long time I was avoidant. Like I knew I had a lot of debt, but I didn't know how much. I didn't know, I was just trying to pay that minimum balance to get by. But that had to end because that did not feel good. And I then realized like it is culturally and how culturally my background, my environment, what I was around, and that was really a lot of reasons as to why or how I handled my money. Now I do feel as though my parents did the best that they can, but there was also some like money mismanagement that they didn't understand, which now since I've been on my journey, they are starting to understand all of that. So it's super exciting for me to talk about my money story and for me to also help others because I know so many people go through this. I know so many people go through credit card debt and not really understanding how credit cards work. I would say I had some financial trauma around credit cards because for a very long time I felt like I couldn't use cards at all. And now I'm in a place where I actually use credit cards to my benefit by getting the points to pay for trips and go on vacations and get hotel stays for free. But a lot of that had to come with a lot of discipline and really understanding money. So I pay my cards off every week. Every week I pay my cards off, and I always tell people you can play the points game, but you got to make sure you pay your card off because if you don't pay your card off, then there's no point in the points game.
And so I just have to say something right here because this is the hill that I am willing to die on. Because people always talking about like telling people just blatantly, oh, well, you need to use your cards, you need to use your cards. And it's like, no,
Mm-mm.
everybody cannot handle that. It is
No.
not a cook. You cannot give out cookie cutter solutions to people because everybody is not ready to be out here swiping on their card. They don't have that discipline to go and pay it off. So they listen to you and swiping on their card. Now they got judgments.
Yep.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Paycheck getting garnished because
Yeah.
they didn't pay it off. They didn't have the discipline to go pay it off. They kept swiping and never was putting in the payment. So you have to learn that discipline first,
You
and you
have to.
have to learn how to manage it first. That's one of the hills I would die on,
But
hands down.
that's also, I mean, and that's why I said, like, for a very long time, I felt like, I was traumatized. I was like, I'm never using a credit card. But I had to learn. I really had to learn how a credit card really works and understanding interest rates and all those things that come with it. And once I got to that point, it also took steps, like very small steps of me being like, okay, I want to make sure I pay this down. And instead of me paying the $100 that I pay for groceries on a debit card, let me put this on a credit card. And then when I get in the car, go ahead and transfer that money to pay it off because I was so determined to continue to not have credit card debt. So, absolutely, you have to be able to know how to manage your money and know how to manage credit cards and what that looks like. Oh, you're muted.
I keep forgetting to unmute. I appreciate you for saying that, and because I feel like that's very important. Like it's a lot of great advice online, and there's a lot of great information online, but a lot of it doesn't give context, and it doesn't give any of that background information that's really, really important. So the next thing we was talking about is well, we kind of talked and touched on it a little bit, but like dealing with parent guilt. So a lot of people they spend so much in the holidays, and the reason why they go so overboard is because one, we want to give our children the life that we never had. Two, like I was kind of talking about when I was introducing the topic, they have guilt because maybe they have been working a lot. With all
Yeah.
these expenses and everything being so high, it does create the need to work more hours, or everybody has to have a second job, or both parents are having to work really hard in the household. How can you work through that parent guilt without having to like the working through your wallet is not the only way to work through it. Like what
No.
suggestions would you give?
So a couple things here. First, there could be so this is when like a therapist can come and help clients out because there could also be some childhood trauma around why a parent has that guilt. Not saying that's the all and be all reason, but for example, do have a client who they go above and beyond for their children every Christmas, but they were able to identify and recognize that that is their inner child, that 12-year-old kid who didn't have a Christmas, and they wanted their kids never to have to experience that. So, and that's where a lot of the work and like therapy would help with that. And I mean, we took first step by being able to even identify the fact that him going overboard was really that 12-year-old child and why, he constantly do that. Another thing is just like you said, is like people feel guilty because working, or people also feel social media, social media influence
Is a big one.
is a
Is a
huge
big one.
a huge one because now everyone's posting their stuff on social media
All the
and
Christmas presents, and then they're gonna call and talk to their
yeah,
friends, and now they're gonna go compare what presents they got for the
yeah.
holiday.
So people tend to like compare. So I always tell people is honestly, you have to take a step back and remember your goals. So going into the Christmas month or presents month, remember, write goals. Like, what does these goals look like going into it, and stick to them. And when Sally over there is having all these gifts. You don't know her situation. You don't know what's going on. And you just got to tell yourself that and be like, you know what? But I'm good. I'm okay over here. Or take a break from social media if you need to. I'm always telling my clients to like make sure you check yourself, like literally check yourself, say something to yourself, talk to yourself to be like, I'm okay over here in my lane. I know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on in the next house, but I'm gonna stay in my lane. Because that will mess with us. Social media will get in our heads and really, really mess with us. Also, when it comes to your children, I would say too, there's a lot of different ways that you can give gifts to your kids that don't have to be too much or too crazy. Stick with your budget, whatever that budget is. Stick with that, and also think about gifting like experiences. And when I say experiences, you know, don't you should be gifting things like going to the zoo, going to some type of museum, or whatever the case may be that you might have locally, like in your state or in your town, that might be something fun for them to do. Or maybe it's even those coupon books where it's like, you know what, here you get to choose when we can go for ice cream, or things like that. So it's really the experiences that they remember. Now, if you can, some people like really go all out and they take trips. But again, we come back to managing your money, because if you're going to take a vacation that's very lavish, then you got to make sure that you can afford it. You got to make sure it's like within your budget and you plan. I also tell people is now's the time throughout the year to also get gifts. So when things are on clearance, that you're like, you know what? That's going to be a good gift for my mom, or that's going to be a good gift for my dad, or that's going to be a good gift for little Susie. Then maybe start to gather those now when you see them throughout the year. So at the end of the year, you don't have this big bill, so that you're not like feeling like so much pressure to have this huge bill and feeling this guilt in January. That's actually something that I do myself personally with my children, is I actually buy things throughout the year, so that way at the end of the year I'm not feeling so anxious around Christmas time and feeling like I need to like get several things. So there's
It-
something to do.
yeah, what I used to do is I started like, especially as my daughter got older, I started giving her experiences. So we would typically spend like the holiday and New Year in a warm climate.
Nice.
But what I would do is, because we know ahead of time that we're going to take this trip, so I would pay for it throughout the year. So throughout
Yes.
the year, I would make payments on it and pay it, because I know this is what I'm going to do. And I typically book my own travel, but you could do the same with a travel agent if you're not one who likes to plan. I personally like to plan my trips. The
And
same thing is
honestly,
economical.
yeah, that's great. And
Like
that's
I
what
said,
I tell
I'm not
people.
frustrated at the end of the year. I didn't have to be in the last minute
Mhm,
shopping
mhm.
lines, and everybody was
Nice.
happy.
And she remembers that.
Oh,
That's what
absolutely. And we have pictures too.
exactly. And that's what it's all that's why I say gift experiences if you can, because those like toys or little gadgets or whatever, a lot of times like kids
Have
play with
some
them
things for 5 minutes.
5 minutes, and they forget about them. Then it's
Did you see the lady? I can't remember. It was a few years ago, but she was on TV and she basically says that she re-gifted old Christmas presents to her kids because they had all been in the closet for like 2 years and they hadn't touched them. So
touch them.
yeah, she said so she re-gifted them because they had forgot all about them.
Yeah, see?
Mhm.
Exactly. That's
I was
exactly
like, that might be kind of genius.
yes, that is a good thing. That is. But I agree. I mean, I love that you and your daughter did that, because that's actually something that I'm trying to start up with my own family, my own children, is having them like go away. We're gonna go somewhere warm every
Mhm.
Christmas, and I'm paying on it throughout the year. And now I have pictures, they have memories.
Yeah, we used to have fun. We really enjoyed it. We did.
So
We had some good times.
I always tell people if you can do that, that's an even better way. I feel like everyone like enjoys going out on vacation, especially if you live in a cold climate and you can go somewhere warm. Absolutely.
And I did. I lived in Chicago, so it was
Yes.
definitely a cold
You
place.
was
So
cold.
yes. So going somewhere warm and on the beach for the holiday, like, and I mean, and if you really like, because kids like to be able to brag to their friends, let's keep it real. That's
Hmm.
definitely brag worthy.
Absolutely.
Like, oh,
That's
you got
brag
to work?
worthy.
Oh, yeah, I was on the beach.
Absolutely.
You
That
know,
is
but it,
that
it didn't hurt my pockets because I started at the beginning of the year. As soon as we came back, I was like, okay, let's start making the plans for next year.
that's how
So,
yeah, that's
mhm.
how you got to do it. Absolutely. That's definitely how you have to do it. And then you're right. You have no stress, you have no worries when December comes, and now y'all just gone.
That's it. That's all. And then, so the last thing we're going to talk about before we get out of here is okay, we're not here to scold you. The holidays are over. You spent what you spent. It is what it is. Let's talk about setting goals. And, I don't know
Mm,
if you know, but I'm having a vision board party on the
mm,
25th. And that's one of the things I'm going to do. I'm going to have like a small goal setting session as a part of it. So I want us to make our boards, but then we're going to talk about how to actually, like, let's go forward and say how we're going to actually achieve this. Like, are we breaking this up quarterly? Let's see
yes.
what do you need to do to make sure that you're hitting these goals? Because I feel like that's important. So let's talk about some goal setting. Like, going
Yeah,
into the new year is January 2024. And first of all, you don't have to wait for January. You could do it November, October,
absolutely.
July, August. It does not matter. You don't need to wait for the new year to have a new resolution. Start now and whatever now is for you.
Hmm.
But let's talk about setting goals
Yeah.
and things like that.
Setting, I mean, I'm off, so I'm a big goal person
Mm,
anyway.
that's why I do a vision board every year. So that's why I just started doing it for my customers.
Yes, because I'm a big so I mean, honestly, you should set goals regardless, like you said, whenever. But what I always tell people is like some depending on who you are, maybe you might want to take the goal and look at it like the month ahead or a couple months ahead. Or even if you're somebody that you want to just set a goal for the holiday season and what that may look like and write that down now and then break it down. So if you're like, you know what, my goal is to save $500 by December 1st so that I can shop with $500. So if that's your goal, then you got to break that down more, right? And say, okay, how am I going to get this $500? How much do I need to save each month to make sure I have this $500? And where's that $500 going to be? Is it going to be like in a bank account and a different bank that I don't mainly bank at because out of sight, out of mind?
Mhm.
Or like, so really like breaking those things down. And just for all things, I like to look at goals as you can look at things in quarters. So maybe there's 4 quarters in the year. So the first quarter, what is that goal? And then breaking that down into how can I achieve this goal within the 3 months? And then when you're looking at the 3 months, how can I achieve this goal within the month? And then what steps can I take to get to there within those 4 weeks? And what do I need to do each week and each day to hit those steps? So really writing them down and like you just said, breaking it down as to what you need to do, almost down to like what you should be doing every day so that you can hit that goal.
And then you want to consider yourself. So I always tell people personal finance is a self awareness journey. What motivates you?
Mm,
You need to know this because you're going to want to set up your goals based on your own motivations and what you know will keep you going. You can't do things just because you see somebody else doing it or just
mhm,
because it worked for them. That does not mean that it's going to work for you. You have to consider you and know who you are. And if you don't know, then that might be your first step
exactly.
because the reality is we're looking to make sustainable goals that are actually achievable. We don't want to
Exactly.
just throw things out there because then we're gonna feel guilty, or then we're gonna beat ourselves up and critique ourselves when we don't hit the goal how we feel like we should be. When maybe the first thing we should have been doing was not even setting the goal yet. Maybe just spending some time with ourselves. So
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah, 'cause I feel like everything you have to figure out what type of person you are because
Absolutely.
different, like me, I'm not a debt snowball girl.
Mm-mm.
I'm not a debt because I don't like paying more money. Why am I paying y'all more money than I got to pay y'all? I want to pay. I don't care that it's going to take me longer. I mean, I don't care that it's going to take longer for me to get to my wins. I can
Mm-hmm.
still stay focused. But
Mm-hmm.
some people are not like that. You
Absolutely. Yeah.
really consider you as the person and how you operate and what's going to work for you. And you got to be real with yourself.
Absolutely. You have to be. You have
You
and
do.
stop avoiding it. Like people know in the back of their head, but
Mhm.
they don't want to face it.
They
And
don't. They
you
don't.
but so you have to stop avoiding it and kind of like, rip that band-aid off and like let's go. Like just
Yeah, and we understand it's hard.
it's
Change
hard.
is hard. Realizing that you made a mistake and like facing it is hard, and then having to do the work is hard. If it was
Absolutely.
easy, everybody would be doing it. Nobody would be have you wouldn't have any financial educators because everybody would be millionaires. But
Absolutely.
the reality is, it's less people who are not millionaires than there are people who are. So
Mhm.
obviously it's something to it and something you have to work towards, and everybody can't do it.
Absolutely.
Some people need help, some people need coaching. That's why you
Mhm.
have people like us as resources, and that what we're here, we're spending our time, our energy, we're here to help, we're here to answer questions. That's why we do these lives. So even if you're watching this on a replay, drop your question in the chat, I'll be happy to answer it. um but I feel like it's important to have these type of conversations.
It absolutely is. And because we also have to take the stigma and the shame around money away because people don't talk about it. And then I tell a lot of my clients, I'm like, you guys would be so surprised at how similar everybody like
Oh,
situation is.
and you think you're on an island. You are so not on an island. Like, if
No.
anything, you're on Earth.
Yes,
Like, you're not on an island somewhere.
not at all. Not
No.
at all. But people don't want to talk. Nobody wants to talk about it. So I really want to
That's
take
what we
that.
kind of breed. Like, we were kind of bred that way. We
Mhm.
don't talk about Bruno.
Mm-mm.
We
Yeah,
don't talk about Bruno.
no,
No,
we
no.
don't. You're right. We don't. That's why you're not supposed to ask somebody how much they make, like the money. But we have to like take that shame, that judgment out of here, so people start to feel more comfortable speaking about money, which brings on healthier relationships with money.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, so I want to thank you so much. I really appreciated
Ew.
this conversation. Um, I'll give a chance to ask any questions, but of course, you told them where they can find you.
Find
But
me on
did you
Instagram.
tell us what services you offer?
No, I didn't actually when I think about it. So I do have a private practice, Freedom Life Therapy and Wellness, where I provide financial therapy. We provide financial coaching, and we will soon be providing financial planning. So it's going to really be like a one-stop shop. So I'm really, really excited about that, and I'm like building this team right now within the practice. So definitely like come over. If you go to my Instagram, you can probably find all my information, the links to my website on there. And also I have a journal which you'll find on my Instagram. The
What's the
links
name of your journal?
it's more than just a budget. It's on Amazon.
Ooh, I like
And
it.
yeah, and it's literally about your money mindset and you trying to make that shift. And it's a weekly journal, which you can start at any point of the year, but you can sit down, look at your weekly income, your weekly expenses, talk about your affirmations, things that make you feel good, things that didn't feel good, your goals, all of that in the journal. So please go on over there and check that out.
Well, maybe you'll have to give me the link to it
Okay.
so that I can drop it in the notes, and then I can put
Okay.
it in like the description on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I can definitely do that. I'm trying to get it for you right now, actually.
Yeah, I just tried to search it on, but I think maybe because I put the asterisk, maybe I take that out.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I search my name and then
Oh, okay, I found it. Oh, this is volume 2. So is this the second one?
the second one. You found it. Yep. The second. The first one is similar,
Okay,
but the first one, the difference between that is it doesn't have as many journal prompts and activities.
gotcha. Okay, so I'm gonna drop it right here.
Thank you.
There you go. I'm giving you the link right now. So oh, that one didn't go through. My StreamYard sometimes is funny. But we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I just dropped the link for you, Antonio. So it'll be in there. And then what I'll do is I'll put it in the description also if they want to get the journal. Because I feel like that's very important. A lot of times you don't realize like what you're doing or what you're spending or how much money is really coming out until you look at it. And it's like, oh, dang, I did that. Like that was me.
Exactly. And this is why I created that journal. This is a journal that I use with a lot of my clients because I try to break it down by week because you're right. You got to look at what you're spending and how much income you really got going in. And where your mindset is. So definitely check it out.
Because it's all about mindset. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you stopping by. You all make sure you go and follow her. Again, I will make sure I put the link in the comments. Well, I already put it in the comments, but I'll make sure that I put the link in the description on YouTube. So we're going to go ahead and sign off. You all have a great night, and then we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.